Alright, so I went ahead and did a little bit of remodeling here. Now, the reason I did this is because I actually like to have more than just 5 or 6 or however many destinations. I actually like to, when I make this on servers, I like to repeat the design in the other direction as well. So you can have 2 outgoing tracks and have twice as many destinations. So in this case it would be 10 different destinations with buttons that you can press and so on. And you can wire up basically the exact same thing in opposite in the other direction that we did over here. Because normally when you're on a server with other people, there's going to be a lot of different destinations that you need to travel to, so you're probably going to need more than just a couple destinations. Everybody's got a base. You've got, you know, Mushroom Island if you find it, far away probably, different places that you might want to make train tracks to. So this is a good way to actually select many destinations. It's a really easy way to expand this and make it a much more flexible system. So I went ahead and just kind of filled that area and made it a little bit nicer. That's like our arrivals and departure section right here. And then I went ahead and built the wall on the back, and then I just filled in a little bit of grass on this side and then filled in the wall over here and around the back and put a roof on it as well. I'm leaving this wall exposed so that we can get back in to see the wiring as we continue on with what we're going to do. But the first thing I'm going to do is actually show you guys now kind of how the tracks are laid out. So let's go ahead and get started with that. Alright, so the first thing you want to do is lay down some powered rails, one spot away from each one of your buttons. Now the reason that I use powered rails all along this line here is when you've got a minecart sitting here and you choose your destination, you can actually be in the minecart and click on one of these buttons and it actually activates the line of powered rails as well. And so it'll power you off on your way as soon as you click on the button. So it's kind of, you don't have to hit the button and then get in your cart and then push another button to start the rail. It just does it all in one by having the rail located right here. The button powers both this and the line of wiring on the other side that actually changes the wiring for you. So that's why I do it that way. And then again, this is not exact. You can put as many or as little powered rails as you would like, but I'm just going to kind of do it like so. This is generally how I do it. And just place it like that so it curves, and place a redstone torch here so that these are powered. Now if you want to get crazy, which you can definitely do, and I have done on some of the servers that I'm on, instead of placing a torch above ground, you could dig down and put one underneath each one of the powered rails. And then if you cover it back up, there you go. The rails are always going to be powered, but there's no chance that someone walks along and accidentally knocks the torch off, or like if you're in the nether like some of my stations have been, then you don't have like a gas fireball shooting down that's gonna blow up the track and blow up the redstone torches and all that. So it's just another way to protect your wiring if you want to. So the next thing we want to do is actually go ahead and put our rails down along this way, down along this line. So we're leaving the station now, and then right about here, actually I'm going to get rid of that one, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to place some powered rails here on the corner, and I'm just going to be lazy right now and just put that torch there. And let me make it daytime real quick. Perfect, so we can still see. Alright, now just going to continue the line down here of rails because we're heading out this way. Now what I want to do is I'm going to loop the track back around. So placing some powered rails here like this. Whoops, I did that backwards. My mistake. Place some powered rails like this. And if you place a torch right there, it powers all 3 of those, which is nice. And now we're going to move back in. And at this point, this is where we're going to actually start to have some of our outbound tracks. So far what I've done is I have the outgoing right here, which powers your cart, heads along this way. This is kind of like, all right, we're getting ready to leave the station. Come around the corner here, and now this would be the first destination. It would curve off and go like that. Now I'm going to do the same thing, just like that, and place another set of 3 tracks, curving it like that. Do that again for the 3rd one, 4th one, and the 5th one. So again, you want to have one for each button that you have, or each line of wiring, because that does represent a destination. And now each one of these would be an outgoing track. And underneath these curved rails is where we're going to have our our redstone torches that's going to power and unpower these to turn them from their default position, which is this, to making them curve the other direction. When they have an unpowered redstone torch underneath them, it will make it curve in the other direction because that actually powers this. You will see it later once we wire it up. That's just kind of a sneak preview of how it's going to work out. All right, so that is the very first thing that you want to do. So I'm going to show you the next step right now. All right, so you've got your first section of the tracks looking like this, or if you're facing in this direction, looking like this. Now the next thing you want to do is actually make the rails continue on, but I'm also going to provide a way for inbound carts to get filtered in to a single destination, no matter which track they're coming in from. So we're going to get a little bit creative with our rails again here. And so this would be the inbound track, right? So you got a cart coming in from whatever destination, and I actually want the track to curve this way. And I'm going to put powered rails here to keep the momentum going. So in order to get the track to curve this way, if I place the rail right now, it's going to connect to that one. I don't want that to be the case. This one is not going to be powered. This one is never going to turn. This one I actually need to connect to this one. So in order to do that, I need to get rid of this first. I need to temporarily get rid of this guy, which I had just set up. And then I want to place it like that so that it turns and goes in that direction. Now I'm free to place this track back here, and it will not interfere. Now, when the cart comes in this way, it's going to turn and continue on down this line, which is eventually going to hook up back here and go back that way. And then if I have a cart that's leaving, it's going out in this direction, and it turns the corner here if this is the destination that's selected, and it will turn here, and it will pass over this because of the curved rail rule. Pass over that and continue on out. So it works in both directions, making sure that these all come into the inbound track, and all the outgoing ones will continue to work as expected as well. So just know that when you do that, when you set it up like this, you need to make sure that before you do that, so that doesn't get all messed up, you want to actually get rid of that and do that. But oh, look at that. So that happened as well. So again, you kind of have to be patient with this process. You're going to be doing a lot of placing and replacing. Ultimately, you want everything to look like this, though. These two lines right here, these are completed. This is what you want everything to look like. So just keep that in mind as you go. I suppose you could do it in the other direction if you want. Whatever works for you. Just the point is, when it's done, it all needs to look like this in the end. So let me go ahead and finish up these other ones. So again, I want to undo that. Do that guy like that. Place that powered rail like that. There we go. And of course you can put your redstone torches underneath or on top on the surface next to the track, or you could place it underneath like I showed you earlier. Either way. Okay, oh, that's got to be a powered rail. Don't forget that. And now I've got one more. Send this guy in through here. Send this one over. Curve that guy. And there we go. Let me take a look, make sure I didn't make any mistakes. Perfect. That is exactly what you want it to look like. From this direction, and then from this direction, that's what that looks like. Now to finish this all up and connect it back, you want to curve this guy like this, and just place those tracks right there. That's it. Now, when a train comes in from any one of these destinations, it's going to turn left, go over these tracks, curve this way, pass over this curved rail, and continue back into the station. It'll come to a stop here, and then you can click a button and choose another destination and leave again. Or if you want, you can hop off, hop right onto this other set of tracks, which will be placed over here, and choose one of these destinations and go on your way. And I just want to set up these as well so that they'll be powered like so. Oh, one tip, you don't want to place your redstone torch right here, because if you place it here, it's going to interfere with these guys as they're turning, because you're going to have redstone underneath here as well, which I'll show you in the next steps. It just keeps things a little bit simpler and helps for troubleshooting if you just keep them on this side. Now you'll notice when I placed that last one, it actually did activate this. So I want to undo that just by getting rid of that, placing that down like that, and there we go. All is right with the world. Okay, so 100%, that is what your track should look like when you're all said and done. Alright, so let me show you the wiring underneath, because now what we want to do is we want to take this redstone wiring with these torches and the inverted redstone torches at the end. We want to be able to use an inverted torch to connect each line up with each one of these. So I want my very first redstone torch over here, this line of wiring. It's going to have to come over to the side a little bit, and it's going to be ending up right underneath this guy so that it turns that one when I want it to. And the second one, I want it to come out and go and end up right over here with the second one over here, and so on. So let me go ahead and wire all that up, and I'll show you guys how that works as well. Alright, be right back with that next step. Alright, now for this next section, we want to actually dig out a little bit more underneath the tracks, but we need to go down one more level, because right now this is too high, which is enough for us to walk in, but if we were to continue digging out this way, we're going to be popping off tracks as we go along, and that's not good. We need to go one level beneath so that we have some more headroom. So you want to dig down another level, and you actually want to dig out this line as well, all the way up to that final section of the wiring that you had built. So we want to dig all of this to high this way, and I'm going to need 1, 2, I've already counted this out ahead of time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, I'm going to need that far out, and I actually need to go over by, I think, 3 more, if I counted right. I think I need to be that far over. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and hollow the rest of this out. Be right back. Alright, so here we go. It's all hollowed out. I believe as much as I need it to be. And we can kind of adjust this as we go again if I'm off by a little bit. Now the next thing you want to do is you actually want to locate where those curved rails are. And we want to place the redstone torch underneath them. So we need to go outside and do some detective work right now. Let me see. So this first one, this one's an easy one to get to. We can just judge the other ones after we get this one. So this one right here, we want a torch to be underneath this. So let me just go ahead and break this next to it. There we go. Okay. So now I know that this is the one I want the redstone torch to be underneath. So I'm going to place lime wool right there. Again, you can place any kind of block you want. Doesn't matter. And place that redstone torch right there, directly underneath that guy. Now when the redstone torch is powered on, remember, that means that this track will be in this natural position. It's when the redstone torch is powered off that it curves and goes in the other direction. This last one, technically you don't really need it to be because it's always going to be curved like that. But actually you do kind of need it to be there just so that the entire system works, because each one of these torches will affect the others as well. And if you should want to expand it, of course it would need to be there as well, because as I showed you guys earlier on in the wiring, if you want to add another line or another couple lines, you're going to need to continue and mimic this system onwards so that it works in whichever direction you want to extend it. So it still is important. You do need it there. It won't work if you don't have it properly, most likely. So I would continue on and just find each one of the curved rails and place redstone torches underneath those as well. Should be easy to do those. We can actually seal this guy up now, since we don't need that, because now you know it's just going to be 2 blocks over for 5 of them. So let's go underground, do that. So let me get the lime wool handy. Put one there, a 4th one, and a 5th one. Alright, so that's that. Let me go ahead and place those torches there. Boom, boom, boom. Just like so. Alright, now what we need to do is get the wiring linked up between these two. So each one for one has to correspond. So this first line, this redstone torch, this line that comes out of here, that line of wiring has to continue on and connect up to this guy. The second redstone torch, that wiring has to connect up to this guy, and so on. Now it shouldn't be too hard Let me go ahead and place some lime wool down. Now this part actually, you can kind of experiment with this, and I'm probably even going to change it up a little bit as I do this based on how I do it in the past. Each time is a little bit different. Just make it work. That's, I guess, my advice that I can give you. Specifically, what you need to do is make sure that each one of the lines of wiring is independent of the other. So if you have redstone that's down below on this line, and you have, like let's say you have, for example, redstone that runs along the wall like that, and then you have another line of redstone that's running here because you need to alternate. Well, right now, both of those lines of redstone are hooked up, and that's no good. So what you would want to do in that case is place some wool, no, not there, place some wool on the side like that, which cuts off the redstone wiring lines from interfering with each other. And now you can have redstone wiring from this line independent of that line. That is a good troubleshooting example of what to do, but this is not an exact science. Really all you need to do is just make sure that they line up. I'm going to go ahead and line up this first one because that one's pretty easy. Just go ahead and hook that up like that. So that's the first one. Let me go ahead and, actually it's the second one technically, but that's the first one I just wired up. Let me go ahead and click that second button. Let's see what happens. Let's see if I did that properly. So now this one should be the powered line, which it is, perfect. This torch is powered on, which powers this redstone signal over here, and voila, the grand reveal. Perfect, exactly what I need. So this torch is powered off, which should then invert the track above it. And once we get all of these wired up, it'll do the opposite on all of these, and it should work exactly how we need it to. So let's go ahead and play around with this a little bit. This one just needs to be 1 over. And I think I can actually go from there. I don't even think I need to do that much. I should be able to just wire that guy like that. Yep, perfect. And wire him over to that torch. Now the reason I know that it connected to this torch is, as you can see, the wiring comes up from here and it does turn to the side. And that means it's connecting to this redstone torch. So now, if I click this first one, oh, or if I get rid of the button, nothing happens. There we go. So I click the first one, that first torch right there. There we go. That line is powered and that one is turned off. This one is turned on, which is what it's supposed to be doing when the wiring is hooked up to it. This torch is inverted and that guy goes over there. Now we just need to get creative and wire the rest of these. They start to get a little bit more tricky as we go along. Let's see. Let me try something like this for this guy. Okay. Actually, that one I can leave there because the signal will still carry over. But I need to actually do what I was just showing you guys a moment ago. Cut that wiring off. There we go. That line is still independent. Now I have this line coming off from the third one. And let me go ahead. Let me bring that out one more. Do that again. That's not what I wanted. Place that redstone there. Send it down this way and over here into the torch. Now another troubleshooting tip, that should work fine, but let me just do this instead. Let's say you had, let's pretend that wiring isn't there for now. Let's say you're trying to do something like this. Send the redstone down and wire it in like this to come over here to this torch. You'll notice it doesn't work. The wiring has to be coming from the direction just straight into the torch. Like it has to be coming from back here like this for it to work. You can't have it come into the side and have it power a redstone torch on the side of the direction that the wiring is traveling. It won't power it to the left or to the right of that line of travel of the redstone signal. So instead, let's put that back. Instead, you want it to come in from this way, and you need to have at least one. So you know already you need to have at least one empty space here because you got to have redstone coming into each one of these torches. Okay, so that's the third one. Let's test that one out. Oh, it's getting dark. Let's make it daytime. Alright, so let's go ahead and test out this third button. See if we wired that one properly. Perfect. It's turned off. The wiring is good. Everything is good. Okay, 2 more. This next one, this fourth one, we can do another one of these, and we're going to have to, again, get a little creative here. I'm going to block that off so that that signal doesn't interfere. And now I can't connect it here because there's no way for me to block these two redstone signals from connecting with each other. I could block it here, but that doesn't help me out because then this line coming from this torch is still connecting up to this line. So I can't have that. So what I need to do is I need to take this wiring down to the side. And I know it makes you a little nervous because you got this torch right here. What's going to happen? Well, the wiring down here will not be affected by this torch. I'm going to actually take advantage of what I did over here where the wiring connects from the corner. I'm going to connect the wiring from the side of this block and go over to that last one. So don't worry, it will work in the end. So right now what we've got is this wiring coming over here. This is still unconnected to anything else. And I'm going to run it one more line over so that we line up with the torch and link it up like that. Okay, let's go ahead and test that out. Make sure the fourth one works. Believe me, testing this each time will save you a lot of headache, because if you just go and you set up the wiring without testing it each time, you're going to run into a mistake, or you might run into a mistake, and then you won't know where your mistake was, and you won't know necessarily how to fix it. You may have to just start all over from the beginning. So testing it step by step, that's definitely a tip that I would highly recommend doing. And so there we go. This one is working. Got the fourth torch unactivated here, which is perfect because this one is activated. Now we just need to wire up that final one. So I'm going to go ahead and take my lime wool here and kind of go like so. I mean, you don't really even have to do that much. Just be minimalist right here. I'm going to wire that up from the side there. Connect that like so. All right, let's go ahead and try the final one. And drum roll, please. All right, so no, we do not have it. Okay, so that's actually good that we had a mistake on film. What we want to show here is how to actually get it set up properly. It's good. It's good to have mistakes. We can learn from them. We want to have this wired up from this side. So link this up here. Now, of course, we have a problem because all of this is now connected. We don't want that. But again, just place a wool right here, or a block that is right here. And there we go. So that is a problem that you need to be aware of when you're trying to wire from the side here. When you have a redstone torch, it will power what's to the left and to the right of it on the same level. So like it'll power this redstone here because it's on the same level. It occupies the block of air that's next to the block of air that the torch is in. But it will not occupy the block of air that's to the left and or right and beside of it. It won't power this right here, like this block, which is why it didn't work when I did it that first way. But when I put it up here, it will power this block. So technically, that air block, this air block, and this other air block, if there wasn't a torch there, would be powered and able to receive a redstone signal when it's turned on. So there we go. That final one is working exactly how we want it to. We can go ahead and try again out here. Just click on something else to reset it, and then we'll click back over here. Make sure that fifth one works, since I changed the wiring before I clicked the button. There we go. Perfect. Everything works. Now let's go and check this from up above with the tracks, because right now our tracks should be different as well. Like, let's see. If we click the middle one, what happens? The middle one is the third track. Hey, perfect. Take a look at that. You see that? That track is turned. That's because each redstone torch under this one, this one, this one, and this one are on their default position. They are actually powered on right now, as you can see. But the one underneath that third track is powered off, which turns it. And as you can kind of imagine, which we'll have to actually take this for a test drive in a minute, when you come out on the minecart, you pass over this one, you pass over this one, and you would turn and leave on this third destination. That's exactly what we want. This is working perfectly right now. Let's try it for each one. There's never too much testing, that's my motto. So I click on that first one, and there we go. That first track is curved. Perfect. And it'll shoot us off to destination 1. Let's click on the second one. Just make sure everything's wired properly. Okay, the first one turned back, so now I'll pass over the first one, and I would go on to the second destination. Perfect, exactly what I wanted. We already tested the third one, but just for good measure, both of those powered back off, and now this one is curved, so it will send us off on destination 3. Let's go over here to destination 4, if I can click it. Okay, powered each of those first 3 so that we'll pass over them, and now this one is unpowered, so it will turn and it will send us off to destination 4. And then destination 5 is already facing in the right direction, you'll notice, but of course we have the obstacle of having destination 4 in the way. We need this guy to turn back in the other direction like the first 3 tracks so that we'll pass over it. So in order to do that, when we click destination 5, powers off those other 4, there we go, perfect. Everything is working exactly as it should. We pass over the first 4 and we go out in this direction. And again, coming in from any one of these 5 destinations, we'll come in and we'll turn to the left and curve inward and head back into our destination. That, my friends, is the entire wiring. That's it. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a couple other things that you need to be aware of when designing a station, because depending on the orientation of your station, it could affect how this needs to be built.